The CS Interior is present, the Honorable Kithure Kindiki. Let me take this opportunity to welcome the Honorable CS. Honorable CS, welcome. Welcome back home. This is the place where you honed your political career. I believe you're more familiar with this house than the ministry. And therefore, let me take this opportunity to welcome you back, where you're going to engage with the senators, basically to answer a few questions. And having served as a senator, you know the rules of this house. Of course, you're not a member of the house anymore, but that should be a big added advantage, that you're very much familiar with the terrain of this house, with the rules and procedure, and therefore, just like a fish, you should find yourself swimming with a lot of ease as you take to the podium. I will therefore call upon Senator Lelegwe to proceed and ask his question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to ask the following questions. 3 questions to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration. 1, what's the state of security in Samburu West constituency in light of the deployment of the Kenya Defence Forces, KDF, to support the ongoing operations? 2, what measures is the government taking to enhance security in Samburu County, especially Samburu West constituency? 3, could the Cabinet Secretary indicate the plans in place to facilitate communities from Longewan, Pura, Nolkera, Losuk areas which vacated their lands following directives by the Interior Cabinet Secretary to safely return and commence cultivation in view of the ongoing rains? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary, kindly proceed to respond to that question.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for inviting me. Mr. Speaker, sir, it's a great honor and privilege for me to appear before this House. I have fond memories of the 10 years I spent as a member of this House. I feel honored and gratified to be back. The only disadvantage is I cannot sit at the place where I used to sit. But other than that, I'm good. I'm happy to see old and new colleagues. And Mr. Speaker, I'll do my best to respond to the question raised by the distinguished Senator for Samburu, the Honorable Dr. Lelegwe, as follows. Mr. Speaker, on 13th of February this year, the government of Kenya decided to deploy a joint operation for purposes of restoring normalcy in Samburu and 4 other counties in Northern Rift Valley. Mr. Speaker, sir, this came after serious incidences of breach of peace. And therefore, it was required that the efforts of the National Police Service, which is the organ responsible for internal security, be augmented and supported by the Kenya Defence Forces in accordance to our Constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, the government had two options. One, to deploy the KDF to support the National Police Service pursuant to Article 241, 3B, whereby the National Police Service is still in charge and leads the operation, but gets support from the KDF, that support being defined in the operational order agreed upon between the Inspector General of the National Police Service and the Chief of the Defense Forces. The second option which was available was to apply Article 241 3C, where the police would cede the way and allow the military to move in, restore peace and order, and retreat back and allow the police to continue after the operation. It was decided to apply 241 3B first because the architecture of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, envisages an escalation of measures where the government intends to bring in the KDF. The intention of the framers of the Constitution is first to escalate the deployment gradually. If the police require the KDF input, then that input comes under paragraph B. And if there is need to escalate it to paragraph C, then that would come as a consequence later on. And that's why we took that approach. Mr. Speaker, sir, the status of security in Samburu County since the deployment of the military to assist the police has improved tremendously. The situation has improved from what was the case before the operation was declared. Mr. Speaker, sir, we immediately identified certain parts of Samburu County and the other 4 counties which were being used to hold to hold and hide bandits. And we asked members of the public to vacate from those places. And this, for the information of the House, Mr. Speaker, these are not habitual places of residence. In fact, the mischief we were trying to cure is that we had established that after stealing livestock, these bandits would retreat to very remote caves and gorges, which are not places of habitual residence. Hide there, and they could survey or try and track what we had, the rest of our agencies were doing and the rest of the public, and plan further attacks from there. But they had invited what we considered perhaps members of their families. So we established their women and children holed up in those caves and gorges. And that's why we gave the kind of orders we gave after declaring these places disturbed and dangerous. The situation has improved. But after we gave the 24-hour orders for the public to leave these dangerous places, which were gazetted and publicized. The unintended but expected consequence was that some of the criminals took the 24-hour notice to mix with the rest of the population, because after 24 hours, we were able to dominate all the places we identified. And I can report to the House today, Mr. Speaker, that all the places, the caves, the gorges, the ravines, all the places that were being used as hideouts for bandits in Baringo, Laikipia, Samburu, Turkana, and West Pokot counties, and Elgeyo Marakwet, those places are clean, have been cleared and dominated by security forces. Our intention now is to make sure that those bandits will never, never, never get to access those places again. We'll do so by ensuring that our presence and the presence of security agencies in these areas is going to remain permanent. Even after we call off the operation, we will not withdraw the presence of security officers. They will dominate those areas and make it impossible for bandits to retreat to the Corcoran Hills in Baringo, Tandare Valley, the Pura Valley, Malaso Escarpment, and all the gorges and caves that were identified. So I think we need to clarify for the public interest, through you, Mr. Speaker, that those orders were not targeting habitual places of public residence. They were targeting specific, remote, and uninhabited areas where bandits would retreat and plan attacks, but then, pursuant to the requirement of international law on the use of force, we are to give a notice, because some would ask, why give a notice to bandits to vacate? The target was not on bandits. In fact, we did not expect them to vacate. We did not expect them to vacate because these bandits had grown horns and were full of impunity and theatrics. That notice was intended at the general public. They could be members of their families, women and children, because under international law, if you're going to use force, then you must ensure that that force is targeted at armed criminals or belligerents or people who are resisting authority, and members of the public should have that notice. And I am happy to report, Mr. Speaker, those places are now clear. With regard to the attacks that we continue to experience in those areas, is as a result of some of the bandits who took the 24-hour window to mix up with the public. We are working very hard to make sure that we also extinguish the remaining threats. And therefore, in a nutshell, the operation, in our view, is a success. We have learned in the last 2 months there are still gaps. We are going to seal the gaps. We will stay there as long as it takes. I want to assure the people of Samburu County and all the other counties affected, including counties affected by this menace, but which are not part of the operation yet. I want to assure them the crime of violent cattle theft, rustling, banditry, and visiting terror on the public by criminals. We will make sure that that culture and that practice is finished, and it will be part of the history of Kenya. We are determined to do whatever it takes. It takes a while because of the intricacies involved, but Honorable Speaker, we are on course and we will win the war. It's either Kenya or bandits. It's either the law or crime. One has to give way. Kenya will not give way. The government will not give way. the people of Kenya will not give way. Bandits, criminals, have to give way. Honorable Speaker, with regard to the second part of the question, I would like to respond as follows. The measures that we are taking, other than the military and police action to flush out criminals, includes improving our intelligence so that we work on intelligence based and intelligence-led security. We've made great strides in strengthening multi-agency intelligence sharing, even within the organs of the national security. Within the National Intelligence Service, National Police Service, other agencies that are involved in the security of our country, we are investing heavily on intelligence. And the same way, Mr. Speaker, the enhancement of intelligence-led security has helped us to contain the threat of terrorism. I am convinced beyond doubt that Kenya will win against bandits through intelligence-led security operations. Number two, we have deployed and enhanced the Special Operation Group, which is one of the formed units of the National Police Service. And Mr. Speaker, for the information of the House, the future of our country winning over sophisticated and complex crime, including banditry, terrorism, drug trafficking, the future is in the specialized formed units of the National Police Service. We have a number of these formed units: Special Operations Group, the Rapid Deployment Unit, the Anti-Stock Theft Unit, and others, including the General Service Unit. These are our front-line soldiers in the fight against complex crime. And therefore, with regard to the measures taken in Samburu West, we have deployed in the last few weeks the Special Operation Group, which helped us a great deal 2 months ago to stabilize Samburu North, the area of Baragoi. There were gunshots every day, deaths and bloodshed every day. But the Senator of Samburu and the people of Samburu will tell you from December last year, that area has been cleared. And the challenge we have, Mr. Speaker, and we call upon Parliament, the two houses of Parliament, to support our security sector. The investments required in the specialized training of these formed units is so high, yet the results are extremely precious for this country. The war against terror was won by the formed units, including, of course, the anti-terror police unit. The war on banditry will be won by a mixture of general policing, but also the use of formed units. And therefore, we will require the support of the House. So the way we've done with Baragoi, we are now putting SOG on other parts of Samburu and also on other parts of the affected counties, even those that are not within the operation area. And I can report to the House that on Friday, I'll be visiting Elgeyo Marakwet to see the deployment of SOG because of the Koloa Bridge and the problems we've had in Marakwet East between Tiati and Marakwet. There has been cross-border raids of late. We have sealed off that area now. It's going to be a thing of the past. And so gradually we are winning the war. We'll invest in peace building. Shortly we are starting a peace engagement, community-led peace engagement and peace building activities in all these areas because we thought we stabilized the areas first before we engage in peace building. We will also do disarmament. But we've taken our time first to stabilize and silence the guns. We must disarm the public. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure the nation through this House, every criminal holding firearms illegally must surrender them. They either surrender the firearm or we will take it by all means possible. And therefore, we will have a disarmament plan. We'll have a radicalization plan, because just like terrorism, banditry and cattle rustling has now assumed some radical ideological leanings where the people doing it are no longer doing it for culture. They are not just doing it for money. It's beyond enterprise, it's beyond culture. Increasingly, there is an ideology by those criminals that you can actually harass the public and take their property and kill them and terrorize and look important. And I want to assure the people of Kenya, we will defeat bandits. I don't know how it will take, but we'll defeat them, and banditry will be part of Kenyan history. Mr. Speaker, if we had continued to allow what was happening by the time the Kenya Kwanza administration came to office and the few months after, if we had left that to continue, we would have had serious security agencies, because we feared that even international terrorist networks would have infiltrated some of these groupings and complicated those matters. So, Mr. Speaker, finally, we are investing in long-term rejuvenation of the region which is affected with social amenities, public infrastructure. We are negotiating with our counterparts in the Ministry of Water, Ministry of Roads, Ministry of Energy, so that whatever quota of development projects, whatever development projects that are being launched or being planned, are being funded for water, for schools, for hospitals, we are requesting for security reasons to get an enhanced quota, an enhanced package for those areas, so that we open northern part of Kenya, including Samburu, and make sure that these places are also empowered, they are opened up, and I keep on saying, Mr. Speaker, the future of Kenya is in the north. There is land, there are resources, there is potential for investment. If we can silence the guns and make them safe places, the future of Kenya 100 years from now, 200 years from now, is in the north of our country. I have looked at the case studies of different countries. I believe the future of this country is in the almost 3/4 of our country that is facing insecurity. If we can sort out security, that is where the future economic strength of our country will be. The same way California, in the middle of a desert, today is the backbone of the American economy. And many other countries, Australia and other places, where desert territories have been turned into economic anchors for the country. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, what plans do I have for our people in Pura, Malaso, and all the other places that could have been displaced as a result of the orders I issued in Malaso on 12th of March 2023, the vacation orders? What plans do we have to make sure that they are able to normalize their lives and plant their farms? I had intended to visit that area on Friday. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have brought forward that trip to tomorrow, because on Friday I'll be in Elgeyo Marakwet. And I want to apologize to the leaders, because sometimes we give very short notices when we are traveling to your areas. It is not intentional. Unlike my colleagues in other ministries, Our ministry is a ministry run on an emergency basis. We cannot plan. Other people plan where we will be. If it is not Paul Mackenzie, it is the bandits, it is other criminals, and you don't know what they are planning and what harm they'll cause where. So every day you wake up, and depending on the security situation of the country, you determine where to rush. And even as I speak, I'm rushing to Busia today, and I had not planned. So I will be visiting, in answer to the question by the senator, I'll be visiting Samburu County tomorrow afternoon to find out if there are genuine cases of people who are displaced. And from there, I'll announce the measures the government of Kenya will make to make sure that nobody who is an innocent member of the public is disrupted from their daily activities, even as we continue securitizing Samburu and Kenya as a whole. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, the Honorable CS of Interior. Honorable CS, I have restrained myself because you are the very first CS to appear before the Senate. However, as you're aware, having served in this Senate, this is a house of rules and procedure. And our rules, more particularly Standing Order 51C5, a CS wishing to respond to a question must file a written response with the Senate 24 hours before they appear on the floor of the Senate. And when appearing before the Senate, of course, as a CS, you're supposed to read verbatim the response that you filed with us. And thereafter, if you have any supplementary information to the response you've given us, then you can proceed to do so. The design was given so that the senator asking the question has prior knowledge of the kind of response you will give, and therefore prepare himself or herself adequately for a supplementary question. And therefore, Honorable CS, if you appear next before the Senate, kindly we will expect you to first read verbatim the response that you will have filed with the Senate, and thereafter you'll proceed, if need be, to give supplementary information to your response as and when senators ask supplementary questions. But since you're the very first CS to appear before the Senate, I've allowed you to get away with that. Now, Honorable Senators, the CS has given a very comprehensive response, though beyond the filed response that he did. And therefore, I will allow the senator who asked that question, if he has any supplementary question, to ask. And thereafter, I will allow another senator to ask supplementary question. Now, Senator Lelegwe, you, under standing orders, you have 2 supplementary questions. You may choose to ask them at once, or you may choose to ask one now, allow your colleagues to answer the supplementary questions, then you be the last to ask the very last supplementary question. Kindly proceed, Senator Lelegwe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I confirm that I have received both the electronic and hard copy of the response by the CS. Of course, late, that is today morning, but I appreciate his response, and I'm sure the promises he has made to the Senate to tackle insecurity in security-prone areas, including Samburu, will bear fruit. Mr. Speaker, I choose to ask 2 supplementary questions now, and I proceed with one. since you made the pronouncement to order the multi-agency operation in the banditry-prone areas, many cases of banditry have occurred in the presence of the multi-agency team, the security forces, without any action taken. And I'm sure the CS has this information, has this intelligence, that cases of banditry, killing of people, loss of livestock, stealing by those bandits, have taken place. And in light of all that, in the presence of the military, in the presence of the multi-agency team, little or no recovery has been reported. Despite the success, and I agree, there is some levels of success since the deployment of these agencies. But the stolen livestock or the arrest of the perpetrators have not taken place. In light of this, CS, what is the government's policy on recovery of stolen property, that is livestock, and compensation if the government is unable to take action? We have seen families having been impoverished.
Honorable Senator, of course, today is the very first time you're doing this, and I'll be giving a lot of latitude to both the CS and the members. But kindly, the supplementary question you ought to ask must be very direct. It is not an opportunity to make a speech, and then after the speech, you pose a question. Direct questions to the CS.
Okay.
The subject matter.
Thank you, Speaker. I proceed. One, since you made the pronouncement and ordered a multi-agency operation in banditry-prone areas, many cases of banditry have occurred in the presence of the security forces without any action taken or recovery of stolen livestock or arrest of the perpetrators. In light of this, what is the government's policy on recovery of stolen property, livestock, and compensation, if any, if the government is unable to take action? Two, what measures do you plan to implement in order to guarantee the safety and security of administrators, in this case the chiefs, operating in areas prone to banditry? Is the CS considering providing them with training and arms to enhance their security? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, kindly proceed to respond to the two supplementary questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm sorry for veering off the standing orders. I was still in the past. In my previous role as a senator, I am guided. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to the supplementary question raised by the distinguished senator for Samburu County, I'll reply as follows: that it is true that we have had incidents of banditry even after the deployment of the Joint National Police Service and Kenya Defence Forces operation. I've explained why those attacks continue, because of a bit of a mix-up where we could have bandits spread out in villages, and although our officers are on ground, they cannot be deployed to every home. So we are looking for strategies to work around that and make sure that we mop out and finish that problem now that we know where the problem is. Mr. Speaker, we have made tremendous improvement in terms of recoveries of stolen livestock. Before the operation, we had very many livestock stolen which were not being recovered. And we are compiling actually data backwards from August and even the entire of 2022, just to show what this administration has done as compared to previously in terms of recoveries and those kind of action. I am able to report the data we have at the moment is showing marked improvement by this administration in terms of recoveries. We've had recoveries in Laikipia, recoveries in Baringo, recoveries in even in Samburu. And out of the 500 livestock stolen since January, we have recovered 200. 300 are still at large. And the reason is because these criminals, once they steal, they separate the livestock in small groups and disappear. They allocate each other 10, 5, 20, 15. So when you recover, you will hear that 200 goats have been stolen, but it will be shared with 10 each, 20 people, and they go different directions. So when you recover in bits and pieces, and that's part of the reason why we've not had 100% recovery. But again, we are working on how to improve our recovery progress. Finally, the senator has asked about what we are doing to make sure that our officers are trained, the national administration officers are trained and equipped. Right now, pending before the National Security Council is a proposal for a limited issuance of firearms to all chiefs, assistant chiefs, and ACCs in specific areas which are facing harsh insecurities, so that they can support the National Police Service in tracking livestock and also protecting themselves from armed criminals, because they are normally the targets. And we have lost a few already. We've lost a chief in Samburu, we've lost one in Laikipia. So we are considering a policy shift to provide firearms and also to give them training so that they can help us better serve the people of Kenya. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable William Cheptumo. And senators, kindly abide by our standing order 51B3.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
As the honorable senator asks his supplementary question, for those who have queued here, kindly, as you ask your supplementary question, abide by that particular standing order, 51B3, so that we move. And Senator, precise, concise, very brief.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me a chance to ask some supplementary question. But Mr. CS, around 2016, 2017, your ministry gazetted a number of administrative units in various counties in our country. These created new locations, sub-locations, divisions, and some sub-counties. Up to today, those gazetted units have not been activated or able to operate. This is helping to assist your ministry on matters security, especially in the security areas. When will you do this, Wanawasiri, Mr. CS? When will you operationalize the units gazetted by your ministry in 2016, 2017 in various counties? And my county in Baringo, there are several of them, areas you were able to visit last time.
Honorable CS, 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, sir, all the gazetted administrative units will be operationalized, but due to budgetary constraints, we have decided to operationalize all the already gazetted areas in phases, in 3 phases, starting this financial year. We will have an objective criteria of identifying which of them goes the first phase, second phase, third phase. That objective criteria includes security challenges faced in that area, like banditry, terrorism, and other complex security issues, illicit drugs and alcohol, and then also regional balance, so that some in one region, another in another region. So we'll have a criteria of making sure that we do, starting this June, and that criteria will be made public so that we carry the entire country together. Asante. Thank you.
Senator Kamar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the Minister for the CS for a well-detailed response, which has opened other things for all of us. We know him for a thorough person. Mr. Speaker, from those of us who watched from far, I don't know, I want to ask the Minister whether there is a policy of handling people who have been displaced by government for reasons including what happened this time when people were moved from their places, because what we were seeing in the media, people who were really in a very bad situation. Is there a policy where food must be provided, sanitation must be provided? Because if people are told to move and they have not told where to move to and how they are going to live, it becomes tricky. Can the Minister expound on what policy they have on how to handle them when they have left their homes? Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in response to the supplementary question asked by the distinguished Senator Margaret Kamar, I would like to respond as follows. That any Kenyan who was displaced as a result of the ongoing security operation or for whatever other reason, the policy of the government of Kenya is to resettle them. As I have said earlier before this House, Mr. Speaker, we have begun tracking whether there are any victims of the orders that I issued in Malaso on 12th of March 2023, starting with Samburu tomorrow, and all the other counties will assess if there are any genuine people who are displaced as a result of those orders. The government of Kenya will facilitate either their return or their settlement so that no Kenyan is deprived of their property or deprived or removed from their habitual places of residence. I thank you.
Senator Kathuri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for your indulgence. Honorable Speaker, my question is very indirect and almost similar to what has been asked, because I agree that the future of Kenya is the north, but that is the future. So I'm asking what immediate measures is the ministry taking to make sure that that area is considered in a very special way so that that custom of banditry can stop, so that they can start farming and doing other things. What immediate measures is the government taking besides militarization of the region? Thank you, sir.
Honorable CS.
So, Speaker, sir, in response to the supplementary question raised by the distinguished Senator for Meru, I would like to tell the House that the use of force is an immediate, short-term, and painkiller remedy for the problem. And therefore, once we stabilize, we will roll out all the other interventions in terms of socio-economic, infrastructural, and amenity development, peace building as well, and we request the support and cooperation of the elected leaders. And I can report to this House that the ministry has already generated the appropriate framework for the reconstruction of all the affected areas, a Marshall Plan of sorts, as promised by President William Ruto during his campaigns for the presidential election. And that paper is now pending clearance at the National Security Council and the Cabinet. I can assure the nation, through you, Mr. Speaker, that in another 2 months, we will be able to announce the comprehensive Marshall Plan for permanent solutions so that we don't have these things repeating every year and for us doing the same thing every other year and expecting different results. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Boni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, allow me to thank the Minister for coming. I had no doubt, given the frustration we shared with him in this House for many years when we needed information from this critical ministry, that he would come. And I want to thank him and his office for the cooperation that they gave us when we were trying to urge them to come. Mr. Minister, in your position, you have access to special intelligence reports. Kenyans would like to know, unless your disclosure will prejudice operations, they would like you to tell them the role played by political players, including sitting MCAs and sitting members of parliament, who we believe, wrongly or otherwise, you'll confirm, that they are part of the problem of incitement, the problem of giving logistical support, and the problem of funding, and Mr. Speaker, the problem of procuring markets where these animals are sold as far away from northeastern as Nairobi in Dagoretti. Could you share with us? And number 1B of my question, Mr. Speaker, do you have a plan, Minister, to disband that structure of security called police reservists?
Honorable CS, kindly proceed.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to respond as follows with regard to the supplementary question raised by the distinguished senator for Kakamega. We have made significant progress in tracking and nailing the masterminds of banditry. I can confidently assure the people of Kenya, we have in our radar a number of politicians of different cadres whose activities have been linked to the support, funding, and encouragement of banditry. We have crucial evidence, some of which was collected at the scene of crime at the attack in Kainuk early in the year, which incriminates political leaders and other people. I can also report to the House, we have evidence which we are almost at the tail end of finalizing and processing of the senior commanders in the banditry enterprise. Mr. Speaker, the banditry criminal enterprise has its own command. Just last week, one of the most notorious commanders of banditry was apprehended alive from the Corcoran Hills and arraigned in court. And the leaders from Baringo and those parts know who that person is. He's terrorized us and is even helping us even to zero in and fill the gaps of the investigations that are ongoing. I want to assure the House that very soon We will have high-profile arraignment of the command of bandits, whether they are civilian commanders, politicians, etc. And we want to build a case that will succeed in court. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable CS. Now, Honorable Senators, indeed, I can see quite a number of senators would wish to ask supplementary questions to the Cabinet Secretary. However, we have expended well about 40 minutes on this particular question. If you remember my first communication when we adopted these standing orders, I indeed made it clear to you that we were going to spend at most 20 minutes per question. I want to believe that the CS Interior, this is not his last appearance before us, and any supplementary question, Honorable Senators, you may be having, I believe we'll still find an appropriate opportunity to be answered by the CS. Therefore, I'm afraid to say that we will. Honorable Senators, the reason I always ask you to read your standing orders is because of, for such reasons. You're raising a point of order on who? There's no senator who is on his feet. And therefore, that is the communication from the chair. Now, Honorable Senators, I've got a communication to make. Senator Kinyua, kindly take your seat. I would like to acknowledge the presence of the Right Honorable Chief Fortune Zephaniah Charumbira, the President of the Pan-African Parliament, in the Speaker's Gallery. The Right Honorable Charumbira is in the country for an official visit to the Parliament of Kenya. He is accompanied by Mr. Daniel Bachuane, an officer from the Pan-African Parliament. Honorable Senators, I have had an opportunity to engage with the Right Honorable Chief Charumbira, and our discussion centered on parliamentary diplomacy and climate change. These are pertinent issues affecting African region as a whole, with respect to food security, conflict resolution, and resource management, and are high on the agenda of the Pan-African Parliament. We also had a discussion on the upcoming Heads of State Summit in the month of May 2023 in South Africa. Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to the Right Honorable Chief Fortune Zephaniah Charumbira, and on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish him a fruitful visit. I will call upon the Senator for Tana River, the Honorable Mungatana, to make very brief welcoming remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we want to join you as part of the Kenya delegation, which is comprised of myself, the Honorable Professor Kamar, the Honorable Member for the National Assembly, Honorable Mukami, the Honorable Majimbo Kalasinga, the Honorable Esther Passaris, to welcome the President of the Parliament, which is resident in South Africa. Mr. Speaker, this President has been very effective in terms of supporting the agenda for the continent. Mr. Speaker, that Parliament has been transformed from the chaos that it used to be before to a platform for exposition of the agenda of Pan-Africanism. Mr. Speaker, we credit him for the work that he has done since his election as President of the Pan-African Parliament. Mr. Speaker, we from Kenya have been pushing and continue to push that Kiswahili be made a major language at the continental level. Right now, Mr. Speaker, we have Arabic language, we have French, English, and Portuguese. But, Mr. Speaker, the Kiswahili language, although accepted, and it's the only African language, really, indigenous language, has not been used properly and to the large extent that is required in the work of that parliament. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to welcome the Honorable President in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, like you said, we have had great engagements with him. He has been also up to the State House and had great engagements with the President. We are very grateful and honored to have him in Kenya today. Mr. Speaker, I join you in welcoming him. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Senators, I will now proceed to discharge the CS Interior. And I've noticed that most of these so-called supplementary questions can actually be posed as substantive questions. So the mere fact that you have not gotten an opportunity to ask your supplementary question, you still have a window to actually pose your supplementary question as a substantive question to the CS, and it still appear here. So, Honorable CS, thanks for coming. You stand discharged for the day. I will proceed to call Senator for Isiolo, the Honorable Fatuma Dulo, to ask. But before you do that, kindly give us a few minutes as we usher in the responsible CS. Yes, what clarification are you seeking, Senator Chirange?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I agree with you that this is the first time that we are doing this. Mr. Speaker, I don't know, maybe through SBC or your office, understanding order number one, Mr. Speaker, you should have at least allowed us to ask. I know that is behind us, but the point I'm trying to make, Speaker, understanding order number one, I wish the Senate Business Committee, especially when the Minister of Interior is appearing, Minister of Finance, Minister of Health, is it possible to schedule them only during one session, for example, like between, we have amended from 9:30 to 12:30, Mr. Speaker, because security is everything. You and me agree. There is a lot that goes on from the village level to the highest level, Mr. Speaker, and I know the next time, even if some of these questions, Mr. Speaker, as you have noted, that it could be substantive, but again, it could be overtaken by events. Like the issue of banditry in the north, like other issues, what is happening in Shakahola, cult, Mr. Speaker, in your county, and many others, Mr. Speaker. So I call upon, in as much as the standing order number 51(7)C, Mr. Speaker, and I also need your interpretation on this because I have realized my colleagues, Mr. Speaker, just allow me quickly as we allow changeover. Also understanding order 51(C)(7)B. When it says allow, it says upon the issuance of response or making of a statement under paragraph 1, the Speaker may. So you can see, Mr. Speaker, standing order number 1 and 51(7)C is similar. May be, of course, allow the senator who asks the question to raise a maximum of 2 supplementary questions that relate to that question. And B, allow any other senator to ask a supplementary question. Mr. Speaker, on that 51(C)(7)B, you need to give direction so that members cannot use that as a pretext of making a debate, making a speech. And when you say supplementary question, does it mean you can tie up into one question before asking, Mr. Speaker? And Mr. Speaker, kindly in future, understanding order number 1, you have power, Mr. Speaker, to allow us to ask as many questions as possible, Mr. Speaker. And even the Bible says we were not meant to obey the rules. It is the rules who should obey us, Mr. Speaker. So I beg with your indulgence, Mr. Speaker. And I know as you sit here, Mr. Speaker, sir, you would have also wished that we ask something about Shakahola in your county because you cannot ask. Some of us were willing to do the job for you, the legwork, Mr. Speaker. So kindly be patient with us, please. Be fair to us. You are our father. Please sometimes allow us to ask for the benefit of our constituents, Mr. Speaker. With that indulgence, I thank you.
Thank you, Senator Chirangei. Indeed, this is the first session we're having on these newly introduced standing orders. And going forward, of course, we are learning and looking at the weight and the interest that is normally generated whenever the CS Interior appears either before the National Assembly or the Senate. I believe as we sit in SBC, we'll take on board the very valid concerns that you've raised, that maybe whenever the CS Interior is appearing, we do not have any other CSs appearing on that particular day, so that we can give ample time to senators to ask as many supplementary questions as possible. But I believe it's a learning process. Once we retire as SBC, these are the things we're going to put together, looking at the experience we've had today, how do we then get better going forward. And I believe the next session should be much better than the one we are just having. But indeed, it is a valid concern that you've raised, and we're going to take it on board once we retire as SBC. Is the CS Lands present? Senator Fatuma Dulo, kindly proceed to ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank you. I thank also the CS for lands. Mr. Speaker, let me confirm to this House, this is the second time that I'm actually pursuing this matter. The first time I brought a question to the floor of the House, and NLC completely refused to respond to the issues I have raised. And that is why I'm repeating the question, because my people's rights is being violated. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether you can allow me to ask the question plus supplementary so that I'm done with the question.
Let us abide by our standing orders. Just ask the question.
Okay.
Let the CS respond, and then you shall rise to ask your supplementary question.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I beg to ask the Cabinet Secretary for Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development. Could the Cabinet Secretary state the reason for the disparity in compensation between residents of Nuno, Madogashi and Isiolo affected by the African Gateway project, and further provide the criteria used in determining the compensation figures? Number two, what are the measures put in place by the government to ensure equitable compensation to the affected residents in both areas? Can I confirm to this House that I have not gone through the response I've just received this morning? I thank you.
Cabinet Secretary, kindly proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance to appear before this August House, and also appreciate the question from Honorable Senator Fatuma Dulo. Mr. Speaker, I request for your indulgence and guidance because, as the Honorable Senator said, the mandate of compensation for public lands is squarely on National Lands Commission pursuant to Article 67 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and Section 113 of the Land Act 2012. Mr. Speaker, after receiving this question, I forwarded the matter to the National Lands Commission via the letter dated 20th April 2023, and it's annexed, it's marked as Annexure 2, and I received a report which is attached as Annexure 2. Honorable Speaker, this matter was executed by the National Lands Commission, which is an independent institution. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I was requesting for your guidance as to whether I go ahead and submit the report that I received from the National Lands Commission, because as a government, the report we received, we feel it's not adequately done. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, if I'm allowed, I would request that you give guidance to this, whether I go ahead and give and submit the report that I received from the National Lands Commission.
Senator Dulo.
Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to thank the CS. Mr. Speaker, I'm really heartened because NLC is a government department, is squarely under Ministry of Lands. And as the minister has said, we have even had a sitting with the commissioners and the chair. We have even gone round as leaders of Isiolo to look at this matter. But clearly, the chair and the commissioners are evading the issues of Isiolo County. I don't mind the CS submitting the report that he received from NLC, but I will appeal to this House. The only way that Isiolo people can receive justice, let the Committee of Lands or Roads go on the ground, Mr. Speaker, so that Isiolo people can actually get justice as far as this compensation is concerned. Mr. Speaker.
Senator Fatuma, just, yes, what is your point of order, Senator Mandago?
Mr. Speaker, I rise on standing order number 105 on the statement of fact. I've heard the Senator for Isiolo saying that the National Land Commission is a department in Ministry of Lands. Mr. Speaker, as far as I'm concerned, the National Land Commission is an independent constitutional commission. Is it in order for the Senator for Isiolo to mislead the House?
Very well, Senator Fatuma Dulo. These are the Chapter 15
Mr. Speaker.
Constitution.
Thank you for this, but whether it's an independent commission or not, it's a commission directly under the parent ministry, which is Ministry of Lands. That is why the minister is responding to the queries. But my request, Mr. Speaker, as far as this matter is concerned, I would urge an appeal to the relevant committee to visit the affected communities so that we can deal with this matter for finality. I thank you.
Senator Chirange. It's not here. Senator Chute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, CS Lands. I have one question only. There is land in Moyale, big chunk of land called Gubalticha. It has a dispute between three communities.
Is putting in place to deal with the issue of multiple buyers, whereby sometimes this is a creation of the officers in the lands ministry, and this is notorious in Gusii region where such cases have resulted in many unsolved murder cases which are in court now. Thank you.
CS.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's true we have had problems with the double allocations, where you find one parcel of land has more than one title. And, Mr. Speaker, I want to assure this House that that problem will be sorted out once we are fully digitized. This is a process that we have started as a ministry. We've started with Nairobi registries, and soon we'll be rolling out the same program to other counties. We want to detach people with manual files, because that's where this problem of double allocation comes. So with digitization, I want to assure this House that most of the problems that we're encountering now on double allocation and other issues to do with lands are going to be dealt with. Thank you.
Honorable Senators, we have expended slightly above, above 40 minutes on this particular question, and I believe we should leave it there. However, indeed, I've observed that the substantive primary question by the Honorable Senator Fatuma Dulo has not been given an adequate response. And the CS has actually confirmed that the information he has brought to this House is inadequate in as far as responding to this particular question. And he proceeded to say that he did not receive adequate information from the concerned commission, that is the National Land Commission. Despite his wishing to have the information has not been forthcoming. Now, Honorable Senators, we need to agree on the way forward where an independent constitution deliberately refuses to give adequate information to the ministry that is supposed to come before the House for purposes of responding to specific questions. As you're aware, our standing orders only allow CSs to appear before the House for purposes of responding to questions. And therefore, as a House, we cannot summon the NLC to come and respond to questions under Standing Order 51. However, Honorable Senators, if you look at Part 12 of our standing orders, it gives a hybrid, the questions and statements. Going forward, therefore, where there is an independent body or another body that we feel as a Senate ought to respond to specific questions raised by the senators and is unwilling to partner or to cooperate with the ministry in charge, then that particular body has to be summoned by the House Standing Committee. In this regard, I direct that the National Land Commission be summoned by the House Standing Committee on Lands to adequately respond to the issues raised by the Honorable Senator Fatuma Dulo. And the House will benefit from the report of the Standing Committee on Lands. Otherwise, if we just go by the response filed by the ministry, this particular matter will remain unresolved. And in her opening remarks, I think you heard the Honorable Senator Fatuma Dulo saying that this is her second attempt to get in this information. And therefore, NLC cannot hide behind these standing orders, that they cannot appear on question time, and therefore, even if they don't volunteer this information, they will be let scot-free. NLC will have to appear before the House Committee on Lands to give this information that the Senator has requested by way of filing this particular question. I so direct. Yes, Senator Cherangay. Senator Cherangay.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I think we are on a learning curve, Mr. Speaker. Still under the Standing Order 51, the entire of it, Mr. Speaker, and Standing Order number 1, where you have powers, you have ordered that the NLC should be summoned by the relevant committee. I need your direction where where a cabinet minister, only 2 directions, Mr. Speaker, appears before the floor of the House on the question that has been given 7 notice at least, and it doesn't have a substantive answer, number 1. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, sir, is where we have gum with the 51 7B, where we have asked a supplementary question. For example, I asked how many people have been compensated that were evicted in Nandi, for example, and he didn't have an answer. What happens to such question? Do we go to the relevant committee? Do we make it a primary question in future? Or should we contact the cabinet secretary direct, which I highly discourage, Mr. Speaker, because it would be more efficient to go through your office. So I need guidance on supplementary questions that we are raising, and the cabinet secretary does not have an answer. How do we go about it? Because I know going into the future, and many other cabinet secretaries will appear, Mr. Speaker, we might be raising supplementary questions, as you have told us, it could not have arose through the primary question. So, Mr. Speaker, you need to provide direction and guidance on how we can handle supplementary questions where CS shall not have provided a substantive or immediate answer, and then where, like Senator Dulo's answer, where the CS, Mr. Speaker, because I believe the CS of Lands, Jeru, and National Land Commission are working together, unless he can submit before the House that they are working cross-purpose. Because in 2013, Mr. Speaker, when the former CS, former Governor Charity Ngilu, they used to fight a lot with the NLC. Does that fight still in existence? I know when I said Charity Ngilu, Mr. Speaker, Senator Manzo is raising his antenna. It is not in bad faith. I'm just making it as a point of information, Mr. Speaker. Does the CS of Lands and NLC work in cross-purpose? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Indeed, Senator Cherengei, your concerns are valid. If you notice, all the senators who asked supplementary questions have raised a concern that my supplementary question has not been adequately been given a response. Now, because strictly it wasn't a supplementary question, it was a new question altogether. And I think, honorable senators, if we are to make proper use of this question time, then let us learn to ask supplementary questions that flow from the primary questions. The moment you ask a different question altogether, expect a general answer. For example, when Senator Cherengei rose to ask a supplementary question as to how many people, it demands the CS to retire to his office, come through his documents so that he gets the specific number of the people. I don't think the CS could be having that number offhand. And therefore, as we ask this supplementary question, let us ask ourselves, is this supplementary question rising from the primary question, or is it a different question altogether? And indeed, your question, Senator Cherengei, that should be asked as a substantive question, because then the CS will sit, go through his documents, and give you specific details. How many people have been compensated? How many are yet to be paid? But I don't think that can be answered through a supplementary question. And if we are to help one another going forward, one, let your supplementary questions flow from the primary question. And if you think there's no correlation between the primary question and the supplementary question, then ask that question as a substantive question. Indeed, there is this issue that we need to grapple with. The issue that Senator Cherengei has just raised, the issue of the National Land Commission. It ought to be working in tandem, in partnership, in cooperation with the Minister of Lands. But I think the CS in his opening remarks said, I am not happy with what I've been given by NLC, and despite my push, this is the much I was given. Now, do we then say, enough, that's enough, just raise whatever you have, and we leave it at that? If we do that, then the question by Senator Fatuma Dulo will remain unresolved. But since we are a hybrid, we have both question time and also statements committed to select committees. We can use the select committee and still end up having a very adequate response to the question by Fatuma Dulo. So in this regard, that's why I've directed that this particular matter be placed before the Lands Committee so that NLC can be summoned, because NLC cannot be summoned pursuant to the standing orders on question time. However, we have that window where NLC can still appear before the Select Committee and be made to give details as required by the Honorable Senator for Isiolo. And I think that will be the avenue that we should take. Indeed, it's a learning curve, but in the next few months, we will certainly have learned to walk. Honorable Senators, just to wind up on the issue of this. Yes, Senator Boni.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I agree with you fully about the route to go hybrid. But let us not risk setting a precedent whereby cabinet secretaries will know that if I go and deflect the question, then I'll be free. Mr. Speaker, in the structure of government, when the president was naming cabinet secretaries, he told the country that the office of the chief cabinet secretary will be responsible for coordination of parliamentary legislative agenda. Mr. Speaker, this being the case, and I don't want to look like I'm deferring you, this being the case, I would have expected that the moment the CS said that he was not satisfied with his answer, we were supposed to stop there because supplementary questions would have arisen from that response. We stopped there and sent him back to come back with a proper answer. And then it would be up to him, Mr. Speaker, sir, to go to the office of the Chief Cabinet Secretary, who is responsible for coordination parliamentary legislative agenda, for them to sit together with the National Land Commission and come here with a comprehensive answer. Mr. Speaker, is an option you can think about, but my mind tells me, let us not allow cabinet secretaries to deflect questions.
Senator Boni, why do you want to walk a long journey and yet you can actually summon NLC at the committee level? Why do you want to tell the CS to go back to the chief cabinet secretary so that they can have a tripartite meeting between the two and the NLC, craft a response, then they come here? Whereas under standing orders, the Select Committee on Lands, I mean the Committee on Lands of this House can tomorrow summon NLC and get the information that is required. And mind you, Senator Boni, the big problem here is that these commissions are independent constitutionally. These are constitutional offices. And they have some kind of independence. To what extent can they be answerable to the ministry? Because if they flex that independence, then there's very little that the ministry can do. However, in this House, nobody can show that card of independence. Everybody is answerable to this House. And that's why it is easier for this House to summon NLC and still get all this information. NLC is not answerable to the Chief Cabinet Secretary. If they flex that card of independence, the Chief Cabinet Secretary will come here and say the very same thing that the Cabinet Secretary has said. So then why do we want to go that route? Let the committee summon NLC and let NLC respond and provide answers to the question that the Honorable Fatuma Dulo has actually posed. And I think the Honorable CS has been very candid, that immediately this matter came to me, I drew the attention of NLC. We expected NLC to have given all the information to the CS for him to read out today. They decided not to cooperate with the ministry. Why? Because of that issue of independence. So I think it's easier for this Senate, through the committee, to summon NLC, as opposed to journeying, that long journey that Senator Boni suggested. Yes, Senator Mandat.
That's the point of clarification. I don't know when the CS says he didn't receive substantive report from NLC. and is accompanied by officers from NLC, Mr. Speaker, I really don't know whether to trust what the CS is saying. Otherwise, what are the officers of NLC doing, accompanying it with a report that is not sufficient for this House, Mr. Speaker?
Honorable Senators, there are matters that I think are subject for discussion at SBC, and let us not handle them at a plenary. Going forward, your concerns have been harvested. Certainly, when SBC sit to discuss these matters, we will be able to give a proper and firm way forward on this matter. It is our first session handling questions. As Senator Chirange has said, it's a learning curve. We want to see how it goes today, take this experience we've had today, and as we sit as SBC, we see using this experience going forward, how do we better the question time? Before we ended, before I discharge the CS, lands, CS, one of the issues that has been raised is the fact that you filed your response late. According to our standing orders, you're supposed to file your response 24 hours before plenary. And therefore, as you retire, next time you're called upon to respond to questions, make sure you file your written responses 24 hours before plenary. And also, as you rise to respond to the questions, make sure you read verbatim what you have filed, and then thereafter, you can actually make supplementary responses by giving additional information. But the first attempt to your response, you have to read your response verbatim, and thereafter you can supplement it by any other information verbally. Honorable Senators, I think we will leave it at that and proceed to the next question. I may now proceed to discharge the CS lands. So as the CS lands retires, and as we wait for the next CS, I will allow Fatuma Dulo. You're not raising on points of order. Just say points of clarification, because if you raise on a point of order, I will not allow you. Yes, Senator Fatuma.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your ruling. But I would appreciate if timeline can be given to the committee, because this matter has taken too long. Thank you.
I think any matter that is committed to a committee, the standing orders actually provide the time within which committees should work. So it will follow the same order. Yes, Senator Cheptumo, what is your clarification?
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to support your direction. Mr. Speaker, you remember in the 10th Parliament, when me and yourself, we were seated in this chamber where ministers used to appear before the House. And the question of supplementary questions, if you can borrow from that situation, that supplementary questions is to enable more members to put questions to the minister. But Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with you that we are not going to act in vain. We are spending time on this question time. And I think when we are also seeking questions as members of this House, we should be able to understand the institutions we are seeking those questions from. So that if we know, Mr. Speaker, that an issue of a commission, then we raise those questions directed to those commissions. But the challenge, Mr. Speaker, is this, that the commissioners cannot be able to appear before the House, either the CEO or the chair, meaning it will go now to the committee the relevant committee for that particular direction. My question, Mr. Speaker, which is of concern to me, is CS, I submit, Mr. Speaker, that CS ought to generally understand his ministry. He may not have specific answers for a specific question, but I think there is the perception and the understanding that he has a general understanding of his ministry. So, Mr. Speaker, even as we limit our question supplementary to the specific questions, I think there should be also leeway for these members to ask questions. They may not be really within the framework of the question, but then, Mr. Speaker, ministers should be able to acquaint themselves with the general operation of their ministry, so that when you have a supplementary question, at least they have an hint of how to answer it.
Thank you, Senator Cheptumo. I'm informed that the CS mining is now present. Is that the position? Senator Fatuma Dulo, kindly proceed to ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I beg to ask the Cabinet Secretary for Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, what is the rationale for the imposition of the existing moratorium on the issuance of mineral rights by the government? Number B, could the Cabinet Secretary state the benefits accrued so far from the imposition of the moratorium? Finally, Mr. Speaker, what plans are in place to have the moratorium lifted in view of the negative impact it has on the economy? I thank you.
Honorable CS, kindly proceed to respond to the question.
Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members of the Senate, I have my comprehensive statement on the issues raised, but maybe before I read them, I want to take this opportunity to thank the Senate for providing a platform where we can be able to share the details that happen in the Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy, and Maritime Affairs. So, Mr. Speaker, in regards to the issue of the moratorium, my response would be as follows. In December 2019, the then Ministry of Petroleum and Mining received communication from the head of public service communicating a decision by the National Security Council to halt issuance of new mineral rights. The letter intimated that the Council had considered that due to an ongoing national resource mapping exercise, there was need for the government to halt issuance of new licenses for exploration and mining. The rationale, therefore, Mr. Speaker, for the moratorium was to safeguard Kenya's national interests by developing the right data and eliminate speculation on availability of substantial mineral deposits. The suspension would also allow the government to complete the mapping exercise without an influx of speculative mining license applications that would have posed a threat to Kenya's mining sector. The suspension was also informed by the need to address existing geological data gaps that have existed in the past without interference from private sector players. These gaps have resulted in losses as government is solely reliant on the private sector for provision of detailed geological data on mineral deposits upon application and grant of mineral rights. Further, the moratorium was perceived as a tool to assist government in better regulating the sector and avoid Kenya falling in the resource scarce trap. On the second part of the question, Mr. Speaker and honorable members, following the imposition of the moratorium, the government has had an opportunity and successfully instituted reforms in the management and regulation of the mining sector that has been beneficial to the country. Among the most outstanding reforms relates to the completion of the nationwide airborne geophysical survey and generation of a preliminary report which shows 970 mineral resource anomalies that require further confirmation. And honorable members, I want to confirm that we have this report for geophysical survey, which has shown 970 mineral occurrences across the country. The creation of a new state department to explore Kenya mineral resources is an affirmation of the government's commitment to exploitation and management of its mineral resources. In fact, the department is a wealth creation department. It's therefore anticipated that the new department will better manage the sector sustainably, effectively, and for prosperity. Further, within this period, the department originated a cabinet memo on mineral processing and value addition, which has so far been approved by cabinet. Towards this end, the ministry has a draft mineral processing and value addition policy that will guide the sector towards this once it is concluded. Some of the value addition ventures that we have initiated are operationalization of the Voi Gemstone Center in Taita Taveta, initiation of a public-private partnership in Floster Company in Elgeyo Marakwet, and also Vihiga Granite Processing Factory. And there are many others that we are also doing across the country. In addition, the department has undertaken a comprehensive audit of all mineral rights holders with a view to cleaning existing data. With no new license being awarded, the government managed to find out all expired and inactive licenses within its register with a view to degazetting them, hence freeing up areas for potential investors. The government recognizes the central role played by over 800,000 artisanal and small-scale miners in poverty eradication and socio-economic development. It is therefore identified formalization and capacity building of these critical players as a key priority under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Currently, the ministry is at the forefront of forming artisanal miners' cooperative societies from the over 420 identified groups in preparation for their issuance of mining permits. The department has also upgraded and is equipping National Mineral Testing and Analysis Laboratory with state-of-the-art equipment. Plans are underway to make it ISO certified to enhance its credibility internationally. Decentralizing lab services to regions is also being undertaken to reduce cost of sending samples to the lab in Nairobi. The department has been carrying out mapping of illegal areas, mining areas, profiling these activities, and is liaising with other government agencies to curb illegal mining operations and restore order, security, and associated gains through strengthening of the compliance, enforcement, and inspectorate functions. The final part of the question, and I respond, because it says, what plans are in place to have the moratorium lifted? The department has put in the necessary safeguards aimed at sustaining the gains already realized and informed decisions for lifting of moratorium. Towards this end, the ministry has undertaken a number of reforms aimed at inspiring the mining sector in the country and attract investors to this sector. The initiative being undertaken are the following. Number one, conclusion of the airborne geophysical survey and generation of a preliminary report identifying over 970 mineral occurrences across the country. Number 2, initiating the process of ground truthing in prioritized 16 counties with critical and strategic minerals. Number 3, concluded the development of an in-house, in-country mineral processing system, an online mining cadastre integrated with national institutions such as KRA, eCitizen, business registration services, among others. This will allow government broader control of all mineral rights and ensure timely issuance of mineral rights as stipulated in the Mining Act 2016. Number 4, instituted a comprehensive audit of all mineral rights and weeded out all illegal licenses, inactive, expire, idle, and speculative hoarding to free up areas for serious investors and concessions. Number 5, prioritize the formalization of artisanal and small-scale mining through formation of marketing cooperatives to enhance artisanal mining incomes, simplify their regulatory environment, and improve their mining standards. Number 6, prioritize exploration of critical and strategic minerals such as coltan, rare earth elements, manganese, nickel, chromite, uranium, chromite, graphite, copper, gold, and iron ore. We currently have dedicated teams undertaking ground truthing in a number of counties. This is aimed at having adequate data relevant to the investors' needs and enhance our pool for concessions. Number 7, initiated review of legal instruments governing the sector. The Mining Act is under review. The Mineral Value Addition Policy and Act is also under development. Explosive Act, royalty sharing framework to communities. Other regulations being amended are state participation, use of goods and services, local content, and mine health and safety regulations. Number 8, organized our geological data into a database for ease of use by potential investors. This is aimed at providing up-to-date, reliable, and critical information on mineral resources in the country. Number 8, digitized critical processes in the department, which include the online cadastre, the royalty collection or royalty management system, explosives insurance management system, laboratory processes, and also library management system. Strengthening of mineral audit and enforcement unit to eliminate illegal mining and mineral smuggling, and this is being implemented through a multi-agency approach. Then the last one, reorganization and resourcing of regional offices. This is aimed at empowering the artisanal mining committees to facilitate issuance of permits to artisanal mining committees. These initiatives, Mr. Speaker, coupled with the just concluded airborne geophysical survey, will definitely open up the sector to serious investments and see the sector become a major contributor to socio-economic development of our country. Finally, Mr. Speaker and honorable members, the ministry is very positive that the reforms it is currently undertaking will catapult Kenya into a desirable mining investment landscape and attract the best in mining. The ministry is enlightened that the availability of critical and energy transition minerals is also an opportunity to cash in on the high demand for these minerals.